Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are here once again on Railroads Online for, I believe this is the 6th episode of this series. This episode, I have a rough plan, which is mostly to continue our expansion. We connected the iron mine last episode. I want to get on and connect the smelter this episode before we move this iron ore. Although there will be one problem in doing that, which is we either have to deal with these little cars, or we have to wait until we can unlock these as part of level 3. But for right now, that is not our issue. This episode will be mostly focused on expansion, building, doing the thing we're supposed to be doing in this game, which is expanding our rail network. Throw a couple of logs into the fire while we go over towards the smelter. I'll be doing a lot more off-camera grinding between episodes now, since, well, I can't imagine it's very interesting to see me just run back and forth with some cars, dropping stuff off. Can't imagine that's all that interesting for you guys to watch. That, and I don't have all that much to say sometimes, so I doubt I could make half-hour episode purely on grinding with nothing to say. At least we got that freight car off. Would explain why we're being held back so much. Go back the regulator. Give a quick little whistle as we head past the ceremonial handcart. That thing has made it so we pretty much... That thing has allowed me to build this entire track network without having to worry about derailing. Which, actually speaking of which, I will be doing a fun facts and tips and tricks kind of video in the coming weeks. So any fun facts, tips and tricks, anything that you guys know, please share them down below in the comments, and I will make sure to include both you as like a little tag, so we know who's giving me the advice, and I'll make sure to make all of these tips and tricks known to the public. I already have a few things coming from those of you from the community, and I thank you very much for bringing them to my attention. Things that I didn't even know about, like that you can tab to your freight cars and unload them that way rather than getting in and out of the loco. I didn't know that. I also didn't know that you could do parallel mode or how it worked, but thanks to a user, and I'm very apologetic that I don't remember your name, you have this tool here lets you parallel the entire track. I did not know this existed. I didn't know what this tool did. I always just kind of looked at it and was like, I wonder what that does. I never knew, but now I do. And it's thanks to those of you in the community who dropped a comment and taught me things about this game. So I hope to share that information with more of you. Now we're going to stop Montezuma just here, because the smelter is in need of a dire rework, because these tracks are way too tight for doing what we're doing here at the smelter, which will be bringing in large-ish trains to drop off goods. So where are we going to go with this? That is the question. How are we going to do this? We should do more stuff off camera, but I think for starters we're going to end up just demolishing a large chunk of what we built, because I need a clear workspace to think better. So we're just going to get rid of all of this that we built in a previous episode, because let's be real, most of this is absolute garbage that is not going to work at all for the purpose that we built it for. The only things that will be staying in this area are the connections to the platforms for right now, because everything else needs to go while I look at a blank slate like this. Oh wait, need to get rid of those. But look at a blank slate and figure out what's going to go where. Now, the one thing I can do is I don't need this loop here. Most likely there will be no train that comes in one side, drops off something here. Well, no, there'll be no train that comes in and then drops off something afterwards. It would come in this side first. So we're more likely going to be doing something like this. I want to bend this. Probably about, what, 50 I think would be good? Yeah, 50. Bend it to about here. And then we want a triple switch, because that means we can go all 3 directions. Why am I going 3 directions? Why am I doing 3 directions? I don't need to do 3 directions. We have 1 track that way, 1 track that way. Yeah, I don't need 3 directions. We have an input and an output. So come in the input, come out the output, and then go back the way you're going. So I don't need that. I want to do this switch, I think. Yeah, this switch. Which we're then going to run this track straight out of here. Straight out over to this area-ish. Where about here, I think, would be a good place to do this. We could put a switch in. That switch is going to let the track curve. We're going to put straight piece with a 45. We're going to rotate to that one. Then we're going to do another straight piece to about here, where we're then going to go left switch to there. Except for the fact that we're going to curve this bit of track first, because that was horrendous. So this bit of track is going to get curved. Again, we'll go back to 50 to about there. Probably will be good enough. And then come off here. And actually, no, I'm going to change the side of the switch lever, because I felt like that'd be better off being on the outside like that. Now I'm going to link these up, just as like a rudimentary kind of link for right now. We can tidy this up later when we have the plans finalized. Probably tidy it up off camera. Don't want to have you guys sat here for hours and hours. Now this does need to be a tighter turn, because this needs to reach the 50. It needs to reach the 45. But it also needs to be a switch like this, so that way we have an input coming from this side. So something like that. And then this will go to the 45. Like so. And then this track can come off of here and run into this switch. Is this going to look absolutely horrendous? Probably. Is it going to function well? Hopefully. Look at the map. So trains, we do right-hand drive here. So trains would come in this way, up here, end up in the input area. The output tracks. Now, the problem with the smelter being the way it is, output coming this way is not going to be very easy. Although, do I need outgoing traffic going that way? I don't think I do. There's no reason for outgoing traffic to go to the iron. Yes, there is, because if it's just a train running round and round and round, there is definitely a reason for it to go that way. Okay, so go over here, change the switch from a right switch to a left switch. That 45 is going to be is going to be probably partial issue here, but that could be worked out and a little bit later. Get rid of that bit of track, get rid of that bit of track, because that's not needed. So I want a left switch, left stand, like that. So this track needs to come around here and do kind of like this, which it will do. It also needs to be able to go this way onto this track, which it will do. So I think we're not actually too far away from having a working iron ore mine. Iron ore mine? This ain't an iron ore mine, this is a smelter. What am I going on about? So something like this, probably to about here. Then left switch like that to hook into the other switch, which is already facing towards me. Nope, I'm gonna go one unit increments. Looks like a decently smooth curve. Look at the map. Yeah, that's a pretty smooth curve. What did I have this switch going this way for? Oh yeah, because it's going to be the track goes back over here. I don't probably need it to do that, did I? Probably could have done that switch back here. Yeah. What am I doing? Good Good question. You know, it doesn't need to look nice, it just needs to function. The only problem is that this track needs to cut across here, which means this curve needs to have a 45-degree bend, needs to have a 45 in it somewhere. Needs to have a 45-degree crossover somewhere around here-ish, I think, would probably do best. That probably makes that turn way too tight, though. Actually, yeah, no, this needs to go way further forward. If I want to be able to link these up smoothish. We're more like here. Is that more central? That's a lot more central. And hopefully that bend there is a lot more feasible. A lot more manageable for a train now. So we're going to do the normal. Run that, connect that. Okay, when I said it looked a lot more central, I thought it was central. Not nowhere near, but as long as this hooks up to this switch without creating like a 90-degree bend in the track, then I think this will be an okay setup. That's way too tight radius. Although this is inbound, so it should be slowing down coming in anyways. Now I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it because it just makes it so much easier. Now this 45 needs another 45 at some point in it because it needs. This is the inbound. Wait, no, this is inbound track. Hang on. This is inbound, which means this is the track coming from this side. This is outbound, which means this track needs to cross over and come over here. Yeah, okay. So this track needs to cross over. This track needs to stay here and link up with this track. Okay. Okay, I got it. I got what we're doing. I understand now. Which means actually probably more like a 90-degree around about here. Probably better off for that than a 45 because I don't think a 45 is going to fit. So 90-degree links to that. Then this needs to link into a switch that will connect to that. Which actually probably probably a 45 would work around about in this area. Go right switch. Give it some distance, but yeah, I think that would. We're gonna have a lot of crossovers in this area. Is all I can say. Page this up to there you go, 0-degree bend. Right switch. Then we're gonna go with 45 crossover. Not that 45. 45 on that one. Nope. Which way am I going here for 45? I want to be going, yeah. Which means maybe this one? Closer? No, not really. No, I might just be using to do another 90. Rotate this so we can get a semi-straight connection. I don't think we'll get a very good connection here because that's not straight with that either. If I put another 90-degree on this, what does another 90-degree on here look like? It's here, but then it's going nowhere near where it needs to go this way. Curve this track. Curve this track to a 50. Bring it out a little. No, because a little bit ain't going to make much difference, is it? Bring it out to there, maybe? And then do a 90. 90 crossover. It feels like it's made it worse. Feels like it's still no closer. And this is supposed to be at least a 70 here. No, I'm going to get rid of this switch. That switch is irrelevant for right now. We're working on lining it up with that bit there. Working on lining it up with that switch. Now this switch can bend, well, I can bend a track out of this switch this way, the other direction, to 70 at most. Does 70 get me near enough parallel? I think it does. Gets me near enough parallel where I think a 90-degree would work. I need to go back a little bit. Actually, if we bring this straight. No, wait. Can I? Do I have like a? If I go to decorations real quick, like a rail sign. So I need to stop when I'm in line with this post. Stop the 70-degree when I'm in line with that post. So around about there, give or take. Do a 90-degree crossover here. Then we go freeform. Hook it like that. Yeah, that actually worked really well. Worked out really well. Get rid of that post. The post isn't needed anymore. Now I need to combine this track and this track. These two tracks need to mesh together. Nope, not snowy. We're in the middle of a desert. We're not in the middle of somewhere that has snow. So to about there. Right switch. I want left side of right switch. No, that's way off. I mean, I have the connection point there. Could it be worth 90-degree on this one, 45 that one? Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can. Can I rework this so I can get a 45 in here more than a 90? I don't know if I can, because a 45-degree goes like that. 45-degree would be something like this. And that's great for one direction, but that's not great for the other. I need the narrow ends. Not. I don't need this. I need. I need a 45 more like the other direction. I need more like this way. But then that don't work because that needs to line up there. This needs to line up with this. That's no argument. But then the other direction doesn't line up. But if I do this, or if I try and do this, that doesn't line up at all. Like, it's going to have to go... If I did a 45, it has to go like this. There's no other way to do this. I basically need more of a custom crossover piece. If I was to get that to work, which we don't have. We don't have custom crossover pieces in this game, which is a little bit annoying, but all devs have left us. So if I was to stretch this out to about here, go with a 90 crossover here, and then the 45 is way out. Get rid of all that for right now. We're going to reverse engineer this. We're going to go from switch to entry point. So I go to about there, 45-degree crossover here. That's looking a lot more appealing to make sure, or to make it so we're not going to end up derailing the train trying to make a stupid corner. That's a lot smoother. No. On that. Runs into here. Like that. Which is fine. Then you are going to be on a 50 bend. Until I don't think a 50 bend is worth it. Precision mode. $50 bend. 50 bend is too loose. Too wide. We go to about here. You'll take there. Straighten it back out to 0. Do I reckon a 45 or a 90 would be better on this? Neither really. 45 is way too much. 90 is not enough. Is there a way I can like feed this switch a different way? Can I probably go the other way? You know what? It's worth a try. It's worth a try. Put the switch the other direction. Put this as a right switch. Because now it's just one bend left rather than kinking. There you go. Then we come out like this. Does that make more of a 45 bend though? I don't think it does. Like if I go to here, is that I don't think that's enough for a 45. I don't think that's enough. Hang on. Actually, wait. That is pretty close to a 45. You know what? It could be worth a shout. It could be worth a very big shout actually. Trying to do a 45 here. Nope. I wanna straight mode. Get it to close-ish. I'd say there's good enough. Then throw a 45 on this end. And now I freeform the rest of this. So we're going to have a bit of a kink here. I think that's going to kink outwards a little bit. It's a bit wobbly there, but that's fine. Again, same kind of story over here. We're going to have a bit of a kink there. So far, this is a mess of switches. That's for sure. There's no argument about that. This is a mess of switches. But I think it works. What are we doing here? You don't have a way to go left. Where are you going? You're... So a train comes in this side and wants to drop off. It's going to come in, up here, there. Train coming from this side, in, there. Train coming out this side wants to go this way. It can do that. Train going out this side. So I need a connection going this way. On the right side, which is the bottom, which is what this will be. The train can't come in this side, but again, that's output, so it can just go around the loop. So from here, go in, loop around, gets to the exit. From here, comes in, loops around, gets to the output. From here, input. From here, input. Yeah, I think the only thing I'm missing is exit this way, which is what we haven't built yet. So that's fine. Okay. Everything is looking like I've built it properly, which is weird because normally that doesn't happen in the first attempt. Normally it takes about 6 different reruns for something like this to make sense. But if it works first time, it works first time, and I'm not going to be one to complain about it. The only difference I'm going to make between what I started with now is that one, this is going to come out straight to probably about here actually. I'm going to go right switch right. I'm going to keep going straight on this, and then I'm going to delete the switch over this side and put it in line with this. Keep a straight piece of track, and then just curve the switch rather than have the switch on the curve like it is just there, I think. Yeah, that's the switch we're going to be deleting and moving back. So as much as this switch here is great, I'm just going to put the switch on the end here and then curve it round rather than doing all that faff, because it means I could just run a line straight. Anything bypassing, at least on this track, so anything bypassing going to the iron mine runs straight past the smelter. There you go. And then we can freeform this bit, because this bit doesn't, I don't think this thing lines up exactly right, but it lines up close enough. Like that. And then link that in, and this goes just straight into this bit of track here. Which actually I'm going to go see if I can get it to link straight into the crossover, like so, and then just delete this bit of track. And then this bit will link into here. And then I think that's everything. I think that will be the iron mine. The iron mine and the smelter completely linked up, minus I haven't done the loop or the shunt yard. Not really, don't really need a shunt yard here. But what's the harm in having an extra shunt yard that you don't need? Don't think there's one. Don't think there is a downside to having it. So why not? Yeah. This is going to be like a 35-degree bend. Go 38 to here. Yeah, 38. And then freeform it. Go set this back to straight first. And then freeform. Freeform the connection. And there you go. The smelter can now be accessed from both directions. Both sides of the smelter can be accessed from both directions. Minus the output side can't be accessed from here, because the outputs aren't needed in that direction. Like anything that comes from the smelter goes, well, there's what, tracks and beams? I don't know. But actually none are even needed there. You're both needed. One's needed here at the ironworks. And the other is needed where? Coal mine? Coal mine. Coal mine and the ironworks, I think, are the only two locations that need. Oh, no, and down here at the gold mine. But then again, same story of the fact of nothing from the smelter needs to go back to the iron mine. So it doesn't need to be hooked up to be able to exit this. No. It doesn't need to be hooked up to enter from this direction. Either way, it doesn't need to be hooked up from this direction. So the only thing that we are doing now is making a loop. Yeah, making a loop, and I guess need to weed out the tracks once I've made the loop. Because, well, there's plenty of little bushes and things that like to hide and then throw your train off the tracks when you least expect it. Because they're bastards. Either way, bring this out straight. Actually, no. I'm going to do a little bit of a shunt yard. It's going to be like an end yard, though. I'm not going to have a through yard. So that can be something I work on afterwards. Right now, we're just doing the return loop. Bring it out to, sure, 75 meters, because I don't know. Why not? Let's start with this being the tightest possible bend and see where we go from there. See if tight is possible makes it. If it does, then we can go wider. And it does. I think this will be more like a 60, but I'm going to go 50 first and test it. 50 radius is a big radius. So we're going to go 50. Curve to there. And then 50. Curve to here. And that is way off. Maybe like a 35. Well, because 30 wasn't enough, but 50 is way off. I'm going to say 35 probably. Actually, what does this thing do? This thing does grade, doesn't it? Yeah, it does grade separation, not angle. Yeah, it's not going to help here. No. So we're going to go with 35. And then work it from there, because 30 wasn't enough, but 35 would probably be roundabouts enough. Yeah, and I'm going to work it from here. I felt like that wasn't much different from 30, but just make it simple on myself. And actually, wait, that's lined up with this track, which is pretty good. Where's that track? Where's the track? It's here. I need to switch because I need the option to go down there for the cordwood. So actually, 30 probably been pretty good as well. But line this up like this. We hook it up, take the cordwood track, take it out like this, and we hook it up as well. And then that is the smelter done, pretty much. So it'll be a case of anything that comes in to the smelter, I've got to move the map again, will come in either from this side or from this side. Iron ore gets dropped off here. Cordwood would come up and then back up onto this line. Although, actually, I'm going to be smart about this before we've even done anything. And I'm going to go left switch like this. And then do the cordwood connect onto this bit. Because now that gives me the option, well, I will be doing it. But that has now given me the opportunity to put in kind of like a shunter feed-off line, what we're going to call it. So, because you can only fit so many cordwood cars here before, well, you reach the end of the track. You can only fit so many cordwood cars. I've now basically what you can do now with what I've just done. What the hell are you? Where are you going? Oh, because you're on 35. That's why. But what I've just done here is I have now created a line. So you bring the empty car in, or you bring the cordwood cars in. You unload 2, 3 of them maybe, probably 3. They're empty, but you've brought more. So you come out, you send the empty cars down this line. They stop at the buffer. You then unload the next lot of cars and rinse and repeat until you've only got empty cordwood cars, or at least until this siding is full. So probably 6, maybe 12 cars on a train. Yeah, I'd say probably 12 at most. But then yeah, so that's how that would work. Iron ore, well, you can just continue flowing through, so you don't need to worry about doing that stuff. But yeah, so that is the smelter hooked up now. Completely hooked up, can be accessed from where needed in both directions. You can pick up stuff. That is a spur that will lead off into a shunt yard for, I don't know, empty cars that I decide to keep here, because why not? Yeah. I'm going to quickly cut the episode. Work on clearing out all the new track of bushes and trees and rocks and anything else that might be on the track. And I will join you back here for, I guess, the outro, really. There's not much else I wanted to get done in this episode, I don't think. So yeah, I will see you all again very shortly for the outro. And we are back. And I'd say that I've gone through and swept up any rocks, trees, small cactuses that were on the tracks that would probably derail a train. I will go through after the episode with the handcart just to double check, make sure everything is as smooth as it looks. But I think that's it for today. We've hooked up the smelter. We're ready to start bringing iron ore and cordwood, shipping the end products out once we have unlocked the hopper cars that we can use, or we use the small ones. That is always an option. But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. I hope you guys can take some inspiration from whatever mess of junctions this is to get stuff in and out of the smelter. Stay tuned for the tips and tricks video that I'll be putting out soon. Speaking of which, drop down your suggestions or any tips and tricks you know of down below. Would be greatly appreciated to fill out the video. But as for always, adios everybody. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. See you next week.